Welcome to All Things Moore County, Moore County's weekly radio show, highlighting the many facets of the Sandhills. That includes real estate, lifestyle, community, and neighborhood. And now, from 4 Properties, here's your host, Bill Sahadi.
Good morning. Welcome to the talk show, All Things Moore County. And Dorothy, it's gotten to a point now where we can actually say welcome to spring.
No kidding.
Right?
Yes.
I've been in the real estate business 16 years here, and I've loved every bit of it. As you know from past shows,
yeah.
I've never seen a year that has been as busy as 2016.
You just seem to be running around like a chicken with your head cut off. Lately.
Yeah, it's been crazy. Lots of, homes are being sold. Lots of different generations are selling homes. Lots of different generations are moving into Moore County. Lots of military.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of competition in the market. But time and again, it's become very clear and obvious to me that when people price their homes compellingly, when they put their home in the best interior and exterior condition, and the home is in a good location, that particular home has a much better chance of procuring an offer in a shorter period of time.
You've told me that many, many times.
Yeah, 2016 has been crazy. There are still, right now, here we are winding up the last weekend in March, and lots of homes will be going on the market here in April, May, and June, which are traditionally very busy months for the selling season. And we wanted to take an opportunity today to talk to a couple of professionals who do what I wish we could do, but we can't because we can only do so much. We're going to talk about people who really we want to speak to the listening of people who want to sell their homes, and we're going to be speaking about staging, and we're going to be speaking about downsizing. And I mentioned the different generations that are moving. Well, a lot of the people that are moving are members of what we know as a civic generation, and they're moving to assisted living, or they're downsizing into smaller quarters that are more manageable, especially before health issues might kick in. So our two guests today, and I want to just introduce them both. Laura Giesler is the owner of a company called Caring Transitions, and I've had the privilege of speaking with her at Peanut Village during, I guess, some of their meet and greets with prospective new residents. And so we've addressed people who are in the throes of downsizing and facing the daunting task of, Laura, I guess, making some really hard decisions about what they take with them, what they leave behind. You serve a tremendous purpose and a tremendous role in helping people, and that's where the name Caring Transitions comes from?
Yes. We really try to help them because sometimes it's a paralyzing process.
Right.
When they finally make that decision, could be years of accumulation and memories and just where they've lived, and it's hard to give those items up. So we try to help them figure out the best way to do that.
What age group do you, in downsizing, what age group are you focusing most of your concentration on?
Well, the majority of our clients are the seniors.
Yep.
But we really are finding there's a lot of military families even in this area. We've got new families moving in even.
Yeah.
Sometimes they come with too much stuff and realize that it doesn't fit in their new home. But the majority are the seniors that have finally made that decision. And many of them have done it years themselves, but they're finding at this point in their life they just can't do it, either physically or emotionally. It's just a little bit tougher. And they've got family, but many of their families in different parts of the country, and they can come assist, but we just try to fill in whatever gaps that they need. If, they need a lot of help or just a little bit, we try to come in and figure out what would be the best way to help them.
In most cases, people might be moving from a 2,000 or 3,000 square foot home to smaller living quarters of about approximately what kind of size?
Could be 700, 600,
Wow.
700.
Wow.
Yeah, so it is a big step for them. So, it is many of them, it's just they're giving up a chapter of their life.
Right.
Could be they have a workshop that they've always done,
Right.
woodworking, or in the kitchen they do baking, and here they're just having to make that decision. Are they really going to be doing that in their new location? And probably not, and they just don't have the space. So
We're gonna. I've had 3 experiences this year that we're going to talk about today during the show, and I want to get your comments on it and talk about, how you set up, what specifically you do, and in introducing our second guest, I have a feeling that the two of you probably cross networks or paths just a little bit, and we're talking about staging, and that's the process of getting a home in its best fit and finish. Kasha McDaniel is the owner of Blue Diamond Staging, and Kasha, I'm glad you stopped in my office about a week ago, and we got a chance to speak. So you handle the process, you help assist that process of decluttering, but also the visuals that are so important in getting properties market ready.
Right, yes. Home staging is actually more of a art where it's basically decorating a home to sell quickly and for more money. And that's what we're trying to do, is to help the homeowner understand that, look, we're just trying to help you figure out, once you've lived in a home maybe for so many years that you kind of have blinders on and you don't see the clutter anymore.
Right.
Or you don't see that this light bulb's been burnt out or this has been broken because you lived it for so long. But a buyer coming into the home will look at it as more of a distraction.
Right.
And say, oh, well, I got to spend money to fix this or change this, and some people don't understand that home staging, it's not just rearranging furniture, it's not just putting a couple of fancy pillows around, it's just rearranging the furniture and things around the house to show a focal point for the room,
Right.
so that people can fall in love with the home.
Right.
Really is what we're trying to do, is appeal to the emotion of the buyers. When it's a family home for people, your family's looking for the home, they're going to want to see bedrooms. If your bedrooms are turned into offices because that's what you use them for, you need to turn them back into the bedrooms.
Right.
People want to see, well, can I fit a twin-size bed in here or a queen-size bed? And you can't tell if you don't show them that. And a lot of people are visual. 90% of people can't envision their stuff at all in the home. You have to show them, make it easy. And I kind of consider it the HGTV effect.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of those channels, that channel specifically, have a lot of shows that show you, in 30 minutes, look what you can do with this home and changing it around. Well, it takes a lot longer than that. You know that, right?
Right.
And so that's where I come in and help them understand what needs to be done in each and every single room, and show them how to make it more appealing to the buyer, the target buyer that you're looking for.
And it's a very competitive market, so
Yes.
Everybody that is putting their home on the market for sale, they kind of need to go the extra yard
Right.
to make, as you said, visually appealing.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with you. And, photographs are such a huge part of marketing. Good
Yes, they are.
photographs.
Definitely.
Not just clicking a camera.
Right.
Getting the lighting correct.
Exactly.
One of the things that a lot of people complain about when they see pictures online, there are certain, widths of the lens that people use, and they make the rooms look bigger
Right.
than they are.
Right.
And that can backfire.
It can, yes.
Because people get very disappointed and they go, well, gosh, it looks so much bigger in the picture.
Right.
It's almost like not really truth in lending, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But people do react to the pictures,
They do.
not the words as
Right.
much.
Right.
Tell me how you're a transplant. You're not from Moore County.
Correct.
How did you get here, and how did you get into the staging business?
So we just moved here in January of this year.
Oh, okay.
So I started my business in Virginia in the D.C. area, which is where we moved from, and started that in 2013.
Right.
But basically, even before that, I've really been staging my own homes many, many years before that. Both my husband and I were prior military. We were in the Air Force for almost 10 years.
Okay.
And, of course, with the Air Force and the military, they make you move every 2 or 3 years anyway. So you have to, sell the houses. And we bought houses. We didn't live on base or anything like that. We lived off base, bought our houses, and every time we had to sell it, it was just natural to me as an assumption that it needs to look its best. If there's toys thrown around or dirty dishes, you definitely want to clean those types of things up, make it look its best. And so I've been doing that all my life. I just didn't realize that, and it really came to fruition when the house that we bought in Virginia, we had a really dark basement that had wood paneling, parquet flooring.
Nice.
And it's 1,000 square feet. Right?
Could be like a museum.
Right. It was just really dark down there.
Right.
And in Virginia, the winters can be kind of harsh. There's a
Right.
lot of snow,
Right.
And at the time, I had one daughter, and we wanted 1,000 square feet. I'm like, that's plenty of space for her to run around in inside, but it's just dark and gloomy down here. So we laid out a plan. This could be a great movie area, watching, playing area, a bedroom down here, guest suite, and everyone's like, how do you envision that? I'm like, how
Right.
do you not? And so I didn't realize that was something that was a gift that I had that I didn't realize that I thought everybody had that.
Right.
How
do you become a stager? I mean, what qualification, what do you have to go through? Because I can hear some people saying, oh, I don't need a stager. Oh, I can just rearrange my furniture myself. I
Right.
just hear it.
Right. Yeah.
What do you say? How do you...
There is no real qualifications for a stager. I mean, you just basically have to have the decorating eye, as I call it. If you think about it, Martha Stewart,
Yep.
she does not have a degree in staging or design.
Just in marketing
No,
herself.
it's in Europe. Her degree is in European and architectural history.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Nate Berkus, the designer that does the Target line, his was French and sociology.
Oh, boy.
So nothing really. He worked, as an intern with a design firm, but so really it's the eye that you need to see that and then be able to understand how to create your business. And that's one of the things I did learn because I've never been in business before. I was in IT. I was a project manager, and you definitely have to have the skills to work with different people, to understand what's needed. But I got my business and certification, if you will, through Staging Diva, who's a internationally known staging, Deborah Gould, and that's how I got started with staging.
But you're also a certified interior decorator.
Yes, I am. I did that on my own to make sure that basically all the things that are intuitive to me, when I went through the classes, I realized, oh, well, I already knew this. And some of the things I learned, they were, new. That's why that was bothering me, because of this, design rule that you have. But for the most part, it was a intuitive type of thing and helped solidify that as a certified interior decorator.
You mentioned Northern Virginia, where you lived.
Yes.
So up there, the market is percolating, where homes go on the market and they get multiple offers in a day or two.
Yes.
Here, it's not quite like that.
Right.
So then my assumption would be that it would be more important to have staging here than it would be in a market that's so overheated.
Right, but it works. Staging works both in a cold and a hot market. So, say if it's a slow time of the year, there's not much inventory out there.
Right.
If your home is looking its best,
Right.
it'll go faster because the other homes don't look as good.
Right.
They're not as enticing. They're not as appealing. The buyer, for the most part, now correct me if I'm wrong, they just want a turnkey, move-in ready home.
You're 100% right.
They don't want to do the work. They just want to move in, and
That's
sometimes
right.
will pay higher just for that home that is ready to move in.
Well, but Laura, I have to ask you, because I've seen you speak to a lot of the seniors, and their perception from where they are, and maybe the last time they sold a home might have been 20 or 30 years ago. And so now they're coming back into the market, and they look at their home. They don't see anything that's wrong with it. They just... There's an expression, in order to sell your home, you kind of have to turn it into a house.
Right. You definitely, and I think we all agree, you've got to take that personalization out.
Right.
The thousands of pictures of the family and all the kids and the awards, and it is. You have to go through and look at it with a clean eye.
Yeah.
And I think that's where Kasha comes in.
Right.
And the realtors, I think, say that all the time, but sometimes the homeowner doesn't always listen.
Right.
So it's nice when somebody else can come in and say that. And that's where we also, it doesn't hurt to start early, no matter, I've had people that want to sell their house in a year.
Right.
That's not too soon to start decluttering.
Right.
Start taking things down, going through closets, going through the linen cabinets in the kitchen, and just sorting out what you haven't used for years. So it doesn't hurt to do it at any time, and it helps definitely when you actually put your house on the market.
Do you have a degree in psychology and counseling?
No, I definitely don't. I just know I've done it too. I've moved a lot, and so I understand the whole process, how hard it is.
Right.
And then I can only imagine when you have health issues,
Right.
or you're older in the age and you just don't have that physical ability.
Right.
It's a very emotional time too. So we just try to make people aware that it's not, something may look simple. It's just a simple closet, but that closet can take 2 weeks to go through. So you're really starting early and having people helping you.
Yeah.
Telling you, giving you ideas. Sometimes it's just the starting point that you need to get you going.
Yeah. I want to come back in the second set, and I want to speak to both of you specifically about the services that you offer. And then I want to talk a lot about some of the personal experiences that I've had recently in 2016, and see how that sort of meshes with what you both come up against in our market. This is All Things Moore County. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the second set of All Things Moore County. We're talking about tips for people who are contemplating putting their home on the market for sale, and probably people who have their home on the market for sale and are not getting the kind of activity that they want. Blue Diamond Staging, you offer a whole host of services, and you said in the first set, it's not just about moving furniture.
Right, yes.
Pretend I'm a seller and you're coming in to see me.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want to hear your presentation.
Sure.
What are the type of services that you offer, and how do you charge? How does the whole process work?
Okay. So basically, normally it starts with a phone call. I'll have a client call me, and most of the time it's homeowners versus realtors that will call me because they're educated enough to know that we need to do something to get my house sold quickly.
Okay.
And so I'll explain during that phone conversation what I do, and that's basically, we start with an in-home consultation, and that can take up to 2 hours going through the home. And what I do is I go through the home and first kind of get a tour, just a basic idea as how the home flows room by room. And then we'll start over again and go through each individual room and walk around and talk about, okay, we're in the living room. I recommend moving this couch over here. We need to fix that. Probably need to remove this, change this, and give them a whole a plan, basically, of what needs to happen in each and every single room.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just, like you said, rearranging furniture. Sometimes there's too much furniture. Sometimes it's the wrong wall color. Some people, because we're decorating to sell and not decorating to live, because that's different. When you live in a home, you want your favorite colors on the wall, your favorite
Right.
things.
Right.
When you're decorating to sell, it's going to be a bit different. So we go through each room, and I give them an exact plan of what needs to happen. So by the end of the consultation, they will know what needs to happen in each and every single room. At that point, they can decide whether they want to do the staging themselves based on what I recommended, and also will consider, the budget. If there's, hey, we only have this amount of money to spend on such and such, I'll prioritize for them which rooms will get the biggest bang for their buck and tell them, look, we really need to focus on this room, change this in here, change that in there. And also if there's a timeline, if you're getting ready to put your home on the market in a week or two, okay, that will take into consideration as well. I'll also have a list of resources if they need, say they need a painter or they need a cleaning service or something like that. I have a list of people that, I would recommend to them if they don't have them. If you say they don't have a landscaping company in mind and say, okay, we need to work on the curb appeal, we need to get this done. Whether you want to take care of it, that's perfectly fine, or I can recommend so-and-so to come over and come help you with that.
People underestimate the value of curb appeal.
Yes.
First impressions are made before people ever walk in the front door. And let's talk about the front door.
Sure, yes. Basically, that's the first thing, like you said, the first thing people see when they come in. And if people see that the front of the home isn't well maintained,
right,
what makes them think that the inside of the home is well maintained?
Absolutely correct.
So, again, if you can't get them in to come to the front door, they're not even going to come in, most times.
So you go in, you spend 2 hours with them. What if they decide, okay, thank you so much, we love your suggestions, we'll do it ourselves?
That's fine. That's perfectly fine.
How do you work? Do you charge your consultation fee on
Yes.
an hourly? How does that work?
No, so my consultation is for up to 2 hours is $250.
Okay.
And then $100 for every hour after that. So say, for example, they say, okay, you know what, there is a lot of stuff in here. I don't have the time to be doing all this. Can you come back and do some of the things? I can do some of the things, they can do some of the things, that's fine. You just tell me, kind of pick and choose what you want me to do. Like say, for example, we need new bed sheets or new towels. If you want me to do that, I can do that for you and charge you the $100 an hour to go shopping on your behalf. Because I have designer discounts, I will pass those savings on to the client as well. So I pay for everything in cash, and with their money, basically tell them, okay, I'm going to need, $10 for towels, however much money for bed sheets, and then I give them the receipts back when we're done, when I buy everything, so that they can decide if they want to keep the stuff, they can keep it. If they don't, they just return it. It's no problem, whether it's artwork or something, So I can come back. So basically, I'm in the home twice. First for the consultation, and then the second time for staging day, which can take anywhere from 4 hours. It depends on the size of the home. It can take longer, maybe a full day.
Right.
Depends on what's going on.
Right. I always tell sellers that it's staging or decluttering, and I'm actually talking to Laura at the same time. It gives the sellers a head start on packing.
Yes.
On consolidating.
Yes.
If it's a younger couple, obviously they're going to take all their stuff with them. But if it's a senior couple, you deal more with the psychological aspect of separating them. In other words, prioritize what's most important to them.
Oh, yeah. A lot of it is prioritizing. Some of it they can do ahead of time, and some of it, unfortunately, they do want to take with them, and they have to realize it on the far end. But if they can be doing it ahead of time, then that definitely helps, with the selling of the home. So we do try to get in there and explain. And some of it's just understanding that most of their items are going to another good home.
Right.
A lot of them, money might not be the biggest issue. It's what they've cared for and they have wonderful memories of, maybe that dining room table, that now it can go to another loving family.
Right.
So,
Kasha, you talked about the cost of a $250 consultation fee.
Right.
Between that and, let's say, a pre-listing appraisal, which could run anywhere from $350 to $400, you're asking a seller to spend $600 to $800, $900 to sell probably the largest asset that they own.
Right.
And if people give you a little bit of a hard time about putting out that money, if you look at the big picture, their home will sell quicker.
Yes.
That's probably less mortgage payments.
Exactly.
And if they don't have a mortgage, their home will still sell quicker, and the process of selling a home sometimes to some sellers can be a very invasive process.
Because you got to keep that home spick and span
Yeah.
for however long.
Right.
You never know when you're going to have a showing.
Right.
It could be, the phone call today, hey, I'm having someone come over in an hour. Oh my goodness, that's just another thing that you just have to keep clean, and it gets tiring after a while when your home is on the market for so long.
I bet that the three of us, we all have one thing in common. When we're speaking to a seller, we all speak to a seller for different reasons, but I think we're always in the back of our mind trying to gauge how motivated they are
Right.
to sell.
Mm-hmm. Right.
In your case, Laura, maybe they have to make the move. They might not want to. They might fight you along the way or drag their feet a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you have to get up there and give them a little kick in the,
Yeah.
you know where?
Right. A lot of them, it is. They love their home. They've been in there for how many years? They picked that home because it's where they wanted to be. So it can be a very tough process for them to finally say that they need to move on. So, but again, it's the timing issue here. They're probably putting a down payment on another place.
Right.
And so now they're looking at that and all the issues of when they can move. So the more that they can do ahead of time.
When you have a client that is transitionalizing, that's moving, do you go with them to the place where they're going to be moving to put your eyes on that place to help them with prioritizing what to take?
We can do a space plan, so we can actually start taking measurements of their new location and take measurements of the furniture they would like to take.
Okay.
And we can actually put it on a 3-dimensional computer program, move things around and place it. And in a way, that's great because that helps them decide what they're taking, which also helps what they're not taking, but it also helps getting them excited of what their new place is going to look like. And so that does help in the process of them, looking forward to the next chapter.
So can you run down some of the services, the specific services that you do provide when you start a conversation with a potential client?
So like Kasha, we get the phone call, and, it could be that we're moving in 3 weeks or that they're, moving in a year. Doesn't matter. We always say the sooner the better. So we get a call. Our consultation is free for the first initial.
How much did you say?
Free. It's for that first hour, and that's basically just to get an understanding of where they're at, the timing issue, how quickly are they having to move, what kind of resources do they have already? Do they have family members that can help them, or church members or friends? Are they able to do a lot themselves, or are they not? Are they looking for a turnkey situation, or just a fill in the gap is what we call, they only need a little bit of help. And just we look at how much there is decluttering. Are they looking for? So we do the space planning, but we also can do packing services.
Okay.
We can do unpacking and resettling, and we can do the just going through the home, figuring out what they want to take, what they don't want to take, family members, what they might want to have, how are you going to get them those items. And then the move coordination, do they need help getting it moved to their new location? And then also what to do with all the remaining items that they decide not to take with them.
And what do you do with the things that they decide not to take with them?
Well, we look through the items. Some of it will be, of course, disposed. Some will be, we try to recycle as much as we can. There's also charity groups that we look at giving to. If the items are sellable, then we do have a process that we can sell the items.
Like an estate sale?
Our main way of selling is through an online auction. So it's a little bit different than the estate sale process.
Okay.
So it's just a fantastic way to take some items or a lot of items, and we put them online, and we let the internet play a big role.
How does that work?
Well, depending on how much, we can either leave them in the home if there's enough to conduct the sale from the home, or if there's not, we have a warehouse. So we can move the items to our warehouse, and then we put them with other items. We take pictures and descriptions, and then we put them online for about 2 weeks. And it's just the market will set the price. Whoever's the highest bidder will be the one that wins the new item.
Do you talk to your clients about how a buyer would value some of their things versus how they would value their own possessions?
Yes, we definitely.
How does that go?
It's hard. We're in a market, where a lot of people are downsizing. We're in the baby boom generation that they're all starting to retire. And so there is a lot of items out there on the market. And unfortunately, what they've kept, many of the collector plates and Chinaware, is not what the new generation is looking for.
Or dining room furniture.
Dining room furniture is another hard thing. It will still go. It will still sell. It just won't go for the prices that they had paid or had hoped for, unfortunately. So, of course, with everything, the better shape it's in, the better it looks, the better care has been taken of it.
Yeah.
It will do a higher price. Yeah. But that's one thing we do. We walk through and we'll tell them, well, if we think that whether their items will have a good chance of selling well, or maybe we look at donation instead, and then they can take a tax write-off. Right. So these are all things that we discuss with them when we...
So it sounds like you might have an a la carte menu of pricing depending upon what services they need you for?
Correct. So we'll if we go in and we start doing the packing and the decluttering and move coordination, that will be more of an hourly service.
Okay.
And then if we do the online auction, selling of their items, we take a percentage. And that's all of it is once we meet with the client, we look at the whole package, what they're looking for, and then we come up with with the pricing.
I want to share a couple of stories that I've had just this year, and many of them are heartwarming. About some of the experiences you go through and some staging things that the sellers would have been better served by doing. We're going to come back. We're speaking with Kasha McDaniel of Blue Diamond Staging and Laura Giesler of Caring Transitions, trying to just get some tips out there for sellers who are thinking of putting their home on the market no matter what age they are. This is All Things Moore County.
There's always something happening, and it's usually quite loud. Our mum, she's so house proud.
Welcome back to our final segment of All Things Moore County. We're talking about staging. We're talking about downsizing, assisting people moving into smaller facilities, senior citizens. There's one thing that sometimes comes up, and it's like the elephant in the room, and I don't know how you both deal with this, but we have to. So you go into a home, and there's an odor, or there is maybe the air is not completely clear. How do people who live there don't recognize it? It could be pet odors, it could be smoking,
I've
Kasha.
run into that, yes, I have. And like you said, it is a lot of the time the neighbor does, or the client doesn't know that their home has an odor of any kind because they live there. They're in there day in, day out.
Exactly.
And yes, you do have to be tactful about it and say, look, there is a smell that I detect over here. Is there something maybe that that you've had some maybe water problems? There's something that needs to be fixed, because the home inspector is going to find that when you do get an offer from a buyer, they're going to find those types of things, and you're going to have to get it fixed. So I would recommend getting that fixed. Sometimes it's pet odors. A lot of the time, some of the listings will have pictures of their pets in there, in the pictures, which I don't recommend. Again, if you can avoid having your pets in the pictures, I highly recommend doing that.
Me too.
But
they can go to the zoo for that.
But exactly. But the other part that people, when they see that, they automatically assume that the house smells, even though the pets may not smell at all, and it may not smell in that home at all.
Good point.
But people automatically assume that,
Yeah.
or they may be highly allergic,
Right.
And they don't automatically just say, okay, nope, we're not going in that house. Forget it, But the odors, you can, definitely have to talk about it, have to bring it up, and it is a sensitive topic.
People take things personally, and they shouldn't.
They shouldn't.
They're turning it into a house, not a home.
Right, exactly.
Laura, do you have the same issue sometimes?
We do have the same issues, and unfortunately, it's like if there has been water damage or we come across the mold sometimes, that for us affects us mostly when they're trying to sell their furniture, their
Right.
items, because we do have to let them know that that is going to bring down the value.
Right.
If there has been pets or if they've been smoking in the home, we have to state that on when we're selling the items because people need to be aware of that. So unfortunately it does come up. The nice thing about with they want to sell their items, we can remove the items so that doesn't, the smell of the home might not become a factor. It would if they do want to have an on-site estate sale, and that would affect their estate sale. So that's one nice thing about having an alternative, that if
Right.
we can bring the items out of the home.
Right. I met a client, now a mutual client of ours, this past Sunday, and this is an older couple, delightful couple. They want to move. They're moving to Phoenix, and before they're not 100% healthy or able to, or what, and they have a beautiful home. It looks good. It's neutral. Hardwoods everywhere. They have a lot of stuff, but they're a little overwhelmed with the process, and yet you're there to help them. You're working with them, but that's actually a good situation, not a one that's
Right.
going to require a lot of work
No, they're actually in a very good,
and smart.
they're smart, but they've already, I think they've sorted through a lot of things and they're pretty clear what they would like to take. We're
Okay.
going to be doing a space plan to make sure it's going to fit, but they already are, I don't think they realize that they're in a pretty good stage already.
They are, but they don't.
They don't realize, I think they're just overwhelmed with all the, everything that has to happen.
Right.
So, but yeah, they're actually in a very good stage compared to some others that,
Yeah, Kasha, if you went in there, you'd be very impressed with the house, with the upgrades. They have too many, for instance, too many chairs in the living room. It's all broken up, and you can't just see the room. You can't create that blank canvas.
Right.
But we're going to start that process with them. And then there was another situation where we just sold a home to a young Asian couple, Chinese couple with a 5-year-old. The gentleman that owned the home is 98 years old.
wow.
Wow.
And smart, sharp as a tack. I mean, he is. I mean, I've never met anybody his age that was in such great shape. And they had an estate sale, and he had so much stuff. He and his wife built the home about 34 years ago, and he was moving to Belmead, to an apartment, and the decisions that he had to make about what to take, what not to take. He said, like most people, that he took too much stuff.
Yeah.
Isn't that usually the case?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's hard to do it, and Kasha helps, but some people cannot envision their new place, so they end up taking way too much, and they find out once they're in there, certain things don't fit, don't look
Right.
to the just a new style, and that's fine too, as long as there's we have to be concerned about safety. Are there enough aisle space for them to walk and not trip in the night and all that? But it's something that we've worked with a lot, even after people have moved, to take away items that they just realize, oh, we thought we wanted this, but no longer does it work with our new situation.
Right.
So we can do it even after they've moved.
And we had another situation this year that was more of a staging issue that had to do with wallpaper.
Oh, yes.
We didn't really talk about wallpaper and borders yet.
Right, no.
So this home was owned by a lovely woman in her middle 80s. She was a widow, and it was a home she and her husband built. And it was a brick home on a double lot, beautiful rooms. She didn't have a lot of furnishings. She was highly organized. But the home sat on the market. It didn't sell. The furnishings everything looked like it was sort of frozen in time.
Oh, wow.
Into a degree. But the issue that kept coming up was the wallpaper and the borders and the matching window treatments.
Yes, and sometimes I recommend just taking down the window treatments, just in general. You know, you want to bring more light into the room anyway, and sometimes they're just so dark that, you know, yes, you can bring in lighting fixtures and things like that, but sometimes it's just easier and faster just to take down the window treatments themselves.
Well, we had a very good painter go in, and she spent about $3,600 removing all the wallpaper,
Right.
neutralizing the paint. The entire bathroom was wallpapered.
Oh,
The
my
master bathroom was wallpapered. Really?
Yeah.
They went in and they closed the bathroom off and they neutralized the whole thing. Within 3 weeks of having all of that done, they negotiated an offer, and the house had a neutral feel to it.
Right.
And she was able to move to St. Joe's. We're not playing favorites with anybody. We've mentioned St. Joe's, we've mentioned Belle Meade, and we've mentioned Penick Village. Probably institutions that you work with
Correct.
all the time,
All the time.
right? So there are a lot of challenges, but there are ways to get from here to there. But Kasha, I'll ask you, you've only been here this year, so
Right.
but you probably already had some success stories, and I'm amazed that you have been contacted by homeowners rather than realtors.
Right,
That's
yes.
just the opposite of what I would think.
Really, right, I know. But a lot of them are very interested in making their home stand out. And that's really, while you mentioned, neutralizing colors, sometimes the bland colors then just, when people go through maybe 5 or 6 houses a day just to look at them, they all kind of melt into each other, But
That's
you
right.
want your home to kind of stand out a little bit more than just the beige and the neutrals.
Right.
You want to give it some color, give it a focal point. If it's a family home, remember that, nursery that was in there? That would be great, or the space, the entertainment area for for our guests. If it's a single home, you want, again, that emotion to come out. And when people think about your home, you want something for it to be remembered, not the house with the wallpaper in the basement or the bathroom.
That's a good point.
So you want the positive, not the negative.
Soft grays are a very popular
Yes.
color today, too, aren't they?
Yes.
You probably are advising people on color combinations as well.
Yes, I am. So I will, go through. I have a color palette that I bring with me, like the swatches and everything, and we'll go through each room. If there's a change in the color that needs to happen, I will recommend which color, so they don't have to do the guesswork. I'm not just going to tell them, we need to paint this room. I'm going to tell them what color I would recommend painting that room,
Right.
And then go from there, based on budget and timeline.
Well, you said it earlier in the show. Today's buyer doesn't want to move in and spend any money. They want to move into something that they can just move into,
Right.
which is different than it was 15 years ago.
Right.
People would buy property and say, well, you know what? The values are continually going up, so we can just come out of pocket and do some improvements, knowing full well that the values will continue to increase. All of a sudden, that's not the case.
Right.
So the onus shifts to the seller more than a buyer when it's a buyer's market.
Right. Yes, exactly. And I know with some of the changes, like when I do a consultation, it's kind of a working session where some of the things we'll move around right then and there if we can. For example, there was one couple that I was helping with, and they had a foyer, and it had lots of entrances, a couple little lamps, and it looked really dark in there. But it was, it should have had more light. Well, when we removed a couple things, I said, okay, let's remove that lamp. And they said, well, wait a second. If you're removing a lamp, how are we getting more light in here? I'm like, hold on, work with me here for a second.
Right.
And they had this beautiful oriental rug on the floor
Right.
that was covering up the floors, the wooden floors that were underneath it. And as soon as we removed that rug, which was a darker red, the light from the ceiling shone on it and bounced the light all around the room, and it made it brighter instantly.
Yeah.
It was amazing. They're like, wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, okay, let's keep going. What else can we change in here?
Yeah.
Or a different room. So they get excited when they see the transformation
Yeah.
and how it can help them. And
I've had more
that's why.
sellers say when they do all the improvements that you suggest, boy, why didn't we do this a few years ago while we were living here?
Right,
Now all of a sudden the house looks great.
Right.
Where can people find you? You have a Facebook page?
I do. I'm on Facebook, Blue Diamond Staging. I do have a website as well, bluediamondstaging.com.
Okay.
It has all my links to the Facebook. I'm on Twitter, LinkedIn. But I also have a blog that I write articles on there. So if you're looking just for some some advice or tips. Like I said, I'm a certified interior decorator, so I'll give decorating tips. I have a newsletter I send out
Yep.
that people can subscribe to, and I'll send out tips and advice on staging, sometimes coupons and things like that
Yep.
that I offer. So definitely my website, bluediamondstaging.com, can get you started there.
I liked your Facebook page, and I've seen some of your postings, and I'm going to wish you a lot of luck this year.
Thank you.
It's a new business in town, but you have the perfect disposition to do what you do. You take charge. You've got a little bit of type A in you, which is good. You got to have it.
Right.
And you're not afraid to say what you believe, as opposed to trying to speak to the to say what you think your client wants to hear. You have to
Right.
tell them what they need to hear.
Right, exactly. And they need that sometimes just to get
Right.
a different opinion of, hey, well, do I really need to do this? And we'll work, I'll work with them to say, okay, look, again, recommend doing this. If we can't do this, then do this instead.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Laura, I need to ask you the same thing, because we want to talk a little bit more about Caring Transitions, how people can get in touch with you to set up that initial consultation.
We do have a website, Caring Transition Sandhills NC. We also have our online auction website, which is ctonlineauctions.com.
Okay.
And then we, a lot of times, I guess it's just word of mouth. I do work with a lot of the retirement communities, so they do have our information.
I bet you also have formed a lot of friendships and relationships with some of your clients through the experience of getting them transitionalized.
And, that is one of the nicest things, because a lot of times, unfortunately, I get a lot of people crying
Right.
when they call us, because they're just so overwhelmed and frustrated and not knowing what to do. And it's nice by the end that we have been able to help them, give them at least, and it might not be even with us, but it's just what resources are out there to help them, give them ideas of what they feel comfortable that they can do, want to do, and just the ideas. And so we have some wonderful people that we still, they come check in on us, and they even help us once in a while, and wonderful people in this area.
And you probably have gotten to know indirectly some of their children from different parts of the country, where you'd get letters or testimonials. Thank you so much for helping my folks. Or that you touch lives when you are reaching into a period where they're making a move that probably would be the last time they would sell a home and move into something a little smaller.
Right. A lot of these, especially the old adult children, they have their families and where they work, and it's nice that they know we can be there to help.
Right.
They can be there for the emotional part of helping their parents, but we're there to help with the physical part of getting their items, the things that we can't, that we can do that they, don't need to. So,
right.
Yeah.
We all share common themes in what we do, and we want people to increase the odds of getting offers on their properties, and that's the way we say it.
Right.
We want to just make it as positive as possible, so that in a competitive market, the seller has every advantage they could possibly have against the competition. Those sellers tend to get rewarded. And the ones that just think, no, my house is this and that, and this is the way it's going to be, sometimes those homes sit on the market way too long.
Mm-hmm.
And the sellers that get them sold quickly, there's a freedom that they feel, and it's a great thing to observe. And I think we all sort of take part in helping them with that process.
Right.
Laura Giesler, Caring Transitions, thank you. I hope to see you again, and maybe we'll get a chance to speak to other groups.
Yeah, thanks, Bill.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
my pleasure. We finally were able to to get together. And Kasha McDaniel, I'm so glad you stopped in to see me. Blue Diamond Staging is on Facebook. Get on there and like the page. Lots of good tips, and it helps you get started thinking about the things that you need to do to increase the odds of procuring an offer on your home.
Thanks, Bill.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
I wish you the best of luck this year, both of you. And thanks for listening. This is a great time to put your home on the market. Just do all the right things. This is All Things Moore County. Thank you.
Our house, it has a crowd. There's always something happening, and it's usually quite loud. Our mum, she's so house proud.